Today's topic is licensing. CPA, EA, accountant. What does it actually mean? Hi, my name is Tony Cameron and I'm with TLDR Accounting. Today we're going to discuss the various licensing that you might see with a financial professional or an accountant that you work with. The first and most asked question, are you CPA, is about the first type that we're going to talk about. CPA, Certified Public Accountant. Could stand for a variety of other things, but today we're talking about certified public accountants. I am a CPA. What does that mean? Okay, I had to get a bachelor's degree of accounting with a concentration or a bachelor's of science in accounting. You need to have 150 hours of specific accounting courses. So you might be thinking that's a lot more than a bachelor's. It is. It usually requires a 5th year. Most CPAs in the current day go for a master's degree instead. Since you're gonna have that 5th year anyway, you might as well go all the way for the master's. There's also a 2,000 hour work requirement of qualifying accounting, tax, and auditing work that you need for your licensing. So you need to work under a CPA, you need to do very specific work. It can vary by state, but it's still 2,000 hours. There's also a 4-part test you need to take. The passing rate for each section is less than 50%, and most folks need to take each section more than once. You only have a rolling 18-month period to pass all 4 sections, and it can be a little grueling. A lot of times you'll hear people compare it to a bar exam for lawyers because it does take a lot of specialized knowledge to pass. And then in Washington, we are required to have 40 hours of continuing education each year. All right, so that's what it takes to become a CPA, but what can a CPA actually do? So certified public accountant means that we can perform in public. So we can do things like prepare taxes, audit financial statements, prepare financial statements, and practice before the IRS. So if you get a notice from the IRS, we can practice before the IRS. We can also audit your books for you. Now, just because we can doesn't mean we do. As a CPA, you can specialize in certain areas. Me personally, I don't work in assurance services. So that means I don't do audits, I don't do any reviews, I don't deal with that. And a lot of times the companies that need that type of work are much, much bigger. And you're more than likely going to be working with a larger firm that offers those types of services. We tend to focus with accounting, taxes, bookkeeping needs, compliance issues for the small business owner, along with forward-looking stuff. That's pretty much a wide variety of what a CPA can do. So you can't compare a CPA to a CPA to a CPA, but those, it does provide a lot of benefits. So when you do see CPA after someone's name, it is an easy way to understand that they've passed a hard exam, they have the education requirements, they have the work experience, and they have continuing education. Now, the next licensing that we're going to talk about is an EA. It's an enrolled agent. It means they can practice before the IRS. So there's 2 ways to become an EA. One is to work over at the IRS and do some things. The other is to take a 3-part exam along with a background check, and you have continuing education requirements over a 3-year period. So not as intense as a CPA, since you don't need a bachelor's degree or the 2,000 hour work experience. And the test is a little bit easier since it's just concentrated on tax law, tax topics, business, individuals, estates and trusts, that sort of thing. So if you're looking for someone who's just working in the tax field, an EA is a fantastic option. And we do have EAs on staff. So it's not like we're like, oh, CPAs are the only thing. No. We have CPAs and EAs on staff. We think it's a very, very important designation, especially since we're not providing assurance services, which is a big difference since that's not covered on the EA exam. Now, accountant. What does that mean? Well, it can mean whatever you want it to mean. There are no licensing in the state of Washington. In Texas, there are some rules and regulations for being able to list an accountant. But in most states, there's no licensing. Anyone can call themselves an accountant. You can decide tomorrow that you want to be an accountant. And you can use that job title. That's completely fine. A lot of times I'll use accountant instead of CPA when I'm introducing myself, because I don't provide assurance services. And I'll follow up with, I am certified. I have my CPA license. An accountant is a much broader range title. It can mean just about anything you want it to mean since it's not regulated. Now, that doesn't mean you might not get quality work from them. It could be someone who's been doing it for 20 years and they never saw the point of paying the very, very large amounts of money it costs to get a CPA if they're doing bookkeeping work. And then if they're only doing bookkeeping work, there's no reason for them to be an EA because they're not dealing with tax issues. So it's still a very valid title. But if someone is not licensed, you should be asking what experience they have, how long have they been doing it, what continuing education are they keeping up on, since the accounting field and the tax field are changing constantly. Technology is changing constantly. I mean, look at the giant tax reform, which just happened in 2018. The amount of continuing education hours that we've pushed all of our staff to work through is pretty large, but it's needed. So if someone's only using the title accountant, my recommendation, ask some questions, figure out what their experience is, how long have they been doing it. One of the things to look out for is, while someone can learn on the job, you should know if someone's learning on the job with your work. And so asking about experience and how long you've done it, how long they've done it is very, very important. That doesn't mean you should always be like, oh, I want references from your 3 last clients. I've had people ask for references. I'm really hesitant to give out references because as a CPA, I can't tell you who my clients are. So that means I need to go talk to the client and figure out if they're okay with talking to you. It's why I always refer people back to Yelp, because these are people who've worked with me, who their review is there, their name is there, right? It works. The test, their experience with working us is there. All right, so we've learned about CPAs, EAs, and anyone who's using the title accountant. Hopefully this was helpful and I didn't just rant for the last 10 minutes. If you did find it helpful, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or to our newsletter and receive additional content, free webinars, and resources that we send out.